What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Division 2 build video. Now, this one is a bit of a treat for you guys. This is I'll be showcasing my PVE run and gun build. I typically use this build for anything along the lines of farming, doing missions, and lately I've been having a lot of fun doing countdown with it. It's a run and gun type of build, burst damage, lots and lots of weapon damage. We are using a vector that I'm sure you're gonna like how I have it modded, but it's the specific gear set and the pieces that I'm using and how this build comes together that I think is what makes it very, very fun to use. We're not stacking a lot of Hasbro. We're not super tanky. We're somewhere in the middle. We're 1.3 million armor, but we are dishing out an insane amount of weapon damage, which makes any PvE content really, really fun to use. So stick around. I'm gonna do the build breakdown, and like always, guys, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Alright guys, so let's get into the build, shall we? Now, our primary weapon for this PvE build is the Tactical Vector SBR. Why are we using the Vector? Well, for that burst damage that it gives you. Look at that RPM, 1200. Our total damage with this build, the way we have it set up, is at 95.2 thousand K, and the mag size is 39. How I have it modified, well, you want that 15% SMG damage, you want that critical hit chance, and you want damage to targets out of cover on the attribute. As far as the talent, you want Optimist. We want as much weapon damage as we can stack because we want to do a lot of burst damage in a short amount of time. So Optimist is weapon damage is increased by plus 3% for every 10% of ammo missing. You can do the math there. Now the mods on the Vector, I have crit chance on the laser, I have crit chance on the suppressor, and on the sight, of course, on the mag size, you want that plus 20%, sorry, plus 20 rounds to maximize your output. Now, for my secondary weapon, I do carry around the Lady Death. Now, it's not, you don't need to use the Lady Death. Maybe some of you don't even have the Lady Death, guys. You can use any other weapon that you want. I prefer an SMG. This is a run and gun type of build, so you know, you're always up close and personal to your enemy. So this is why I usually carry around two SMGs. But you can carry whichever one you want. Just make sure that for your primary, you are using the Vector for this build. All right, so let's get into the actual build. We are going to be using the Hunter's Fury gear set. We're going to be using four pieces. Before I get into the individual pieces, let's see what the bonuses for this gear set give you and why I am choosing the Hunter's Fury. Two pieces gives you an additional 15% shotgun damage and SMG damage. So if you're a shotgun guy, this build is for you as well. Three pieces gives you plus 20% armor on kill and plus 100% health on kill. This is very key, guys. In PvE, in a run and gun type of build, you want to be getting back your, you know, not only your armor but also your health back as quickly as possible. So here you get not only armor, but you get your full health upon kill. So very, very good bonus. But what makes this gear set shine is, of course, the four-piece, the Apex Predator. Enemies within 15 meters receive a debuff, amplifying your weapon damage against them by 20%. So just by being within or with 15 meters, you are gaining an additional 20% weapon damage. Now let's see, it carries on. It says killing a debuffed enemy with your weapon disorients other enemies within 5 meters and amplifies weapon damage by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. That's an additional 25% weapon damage over the course of 10 seconds. Not only do you disorient your enemy, but you get amplified weapon damage. Very, very cool for this bonus. Lots of weapon damage here, guys. Now, how I have it modded, let's see, you want armor on the attribute, and you want crit damage, crit chance on the attribute. Piece of Hunter's Fury, we are going to be using the holster. Again, you want armor on the core and 12% critical hit damage on the attribute. Our third piece of Hunter's Fury is the knee pads. I went with 15% weapon damage on the core and 12% critical hit damage on the attribute. And our last piece of Hunter's Fury is the gloves. I went with 15% weapon damage on the core and 6% critical hit chance on the attribute just to reach that 60% critical hit chance cap. Okay, so that brings us now to the chest piece. I went with one piece Sokolov for that 10% SMG damage. I went all red on this chest piece. And the talent that you want to make this build hit even harder is Obliterate. Critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 5 seconds, stacks up to 25 times. Again, guys, all we're doing in this build is stacking as much weapon damage as possible. Lastly, we get to the backpack and the heart of this build. This is the one piece that you cannot be without for this build, and this is the exotic Memento backpack. Why are we using this backpack and why is it so good? Well, let's see. It's the only piece in the game, first of all, that gives you all three core attributes. You get weapon damage, you get armor, and you get a +1 skill tier. So depending on the versatility of your build, whether it's a crit build, whether it's a skill build, you can always use this backpack for a multitude of combinations. Now on the attribute, I went with crit hit damage, but let's get into the actual talent of the backpack. As you saw in the opening clips, every time I would kill an NPC, it drops one of those which are referred to as trophies, those little red beams. Every time that you collect one, you gain +1% weapon damage. So let's get into the actual description here. It says, kill confirmed. Enemies you kill drop a trophy on death. Collecting trophies provides both a short and long-term buff, the first of which scales with the number of core attributes equipped and lasts 10 seconds. So, depending on how many red core attributes you have, you gain an additional +1% weapon damage. The same thing goes for the blue core, you get +10% bonus armor. And if this is a skill build, then you would gain +5% skill efficiency. And the last part of this talent says for every trophy collected, you gain an additional +1% weapon damage or skill or armor, which regenerates for 300 seconds, maximum 30. So for the purpose of this build, we gain an additional 30% weapon damage because we're not making use of the bonus armor or the skill efficiency in this scenario. We want weapon damage. So this is why this backpack is very important for this build. As far as my skills, guys, I am using the Striker Ballistic Shield. How I have it modded, you want that 1% damage bonus on one of the slots. You want the 5% damage bonus on the second, and on the third, you want the 8% active regeneration that the specialization gives you. For the secondary skill, I use the Stinger Hive, but you can use whatever you want, guys, whatever you feel comfortable with. If we look at the character sheet, we have 95,000 weapon damage, we have 31,000 PvP, which is irrelevant in this case. We have 60% critical hit chance, and we have 114.5% critical hit damage. We have 70% headshot damage. We have 70% all damage bonus, but don't forget we are stacking more weapon damage just from the backpack, so you could add an extra 30% weapon damage from the backpack talent, plus depending on your the red core attributes, you can gain an additional 5% weapon damage for every red core you have. So making this build even more deadly and hitting a lot harder. So there you go, guys. Let me know in the comment section below how you would set this build up different. If you have any comments or suggestions. And like always, guys, have fun out there and enjoy it. And I will catch you on the next one.